Yeah, it appears that way.
Content connecting community. You're watching The Pulse.
Hi everyone, and thank you so much for being with us here on The Pulse. I'm Bradley Warren. It's very nice to see you. We've had a tragic several days here in our community, and today we are going to take you to the procession and honor the lives of the two fallen firefighters that passed away while serving our community over the weekend. Of course, they were responding to a wildfire that law enforcement now believes was intentionally set to lure them in. They were doing their jobs and were shot and killed in the line of duty. You're taking a live look right now at the starting point of the procession. That is the Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office, where their bodies were taken to shortly after they passed away. As we take you there live, we want to remember the two who gave it all to our communities. You're looking at their faces right now. Frank Harwood, a 42-year-old from Kootenai County Fire and Rescue. He leaves behind a wife and two children. Battalion Chief John Morrison of Coeur, Idaho, of Coeur Fire, who was 52 years old. Both of them served in our community for decades and put it all on the line for not only North Idaho, but all of us. We, of course, want to remember and keep in our thoughts and prayers the firefighter who is also still battling for their life in the hospital right now. That is David Tysdall. He was shot multiple times and is recovering. But today we are paying tribute to the two fallen as we await for that procession to begin. We have multiple live cameras in place as we will follow the procession back from the Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office home to North Idaho. You're taking a look at the route. We do know that many members of the public have already started to line the procession route. You're seeing American flags that are flying as people are standing over the bridges. I believe we have our reporter Ainsley Anderson who is standing by. I don't know if we have the opportunity to go to her before this begins, but she's had the chance to speak with several people who have been setting up to pay their respects. If Ainsley is available, I'd love to chat with her real quickly. Ainsley? All right, Ainsley is getting prepared right now and won't be able to join us, but as we take a look at our live cameras, you're seeing right here people already pulling over on the side of the road, and you are seeing law enforcement there driving through. We are waiting for this procession to begin. It has not started yet. It was supposed to start at 10. It will leave the Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office and follow I-90 back to Coeur, Idaho, where the two fallen firefighters are from. All right, we do want to now go to Ainsley Anderson, who had the opportunity to speak with several people who have showed up to pay their respects. Ainsley, what is it feeling like as you stand out there and wait for this procession to begin? You were at the hospital on Sunday. You watched those ambulances and those firefighters leave Idaho to go to the medical examiner's office. For you and the people out there, what have you been feeling?
Yeah, Bradley, I'm right across the street from the English Funeral Chapel, which is going to be the ending point of today's procession. And as you said the other day, it lit up the street outside of the Kootenai County Medical Center all the way to the Spokane Medical Examiner's Office. And we do have people lining the street. Thomas, I'm going to have you pan out just to kind of see the crowd that is gathering out here today. It is definitely a very somber feeling out here. And as you said, I did get the chance to speak with a few people, and they said that they just don't have the words to explain how they're feeling right now. They said that this is the least they can do. They can show up and they can show support, but they said that obviously these two men gave the ultimate sacrifice. And they said that it is heartwarming to see the community just wrap their arms around one another as they're doing right now. And it's only getting busier, as time passes. And we do expect to see more people coming out to show their support. Obviously, this is the end of the procession that is set to start at 10. So they aren't going to be coming to us for just a little while. But as they inch closer, I know the more people are going to come out here, and we are going to continue to speak with people just to see how they're feeling on this somber day. Bradley.
Yeah, Ainsley, it's been incredibly emotional, and of course we want to take you back now to the starting point of this. We will wait for that procession to begin as we remember the lives of Battalion Chief Frank Harwood and Battalion Chief John Morrison. All right, if you were just joining us right here on our NonStop Local stream, we are following the procession of the two fallen firefighters. NonStop Local's Noah Bolter is joining us live now. Noah, you are at the starting point of this procession. Walk me through what you're feeling and what you're seeing emotion-wise.
Well, Bradley, if I could just take you and the viewers to the starting point here. There are lots of tissues, lots of flags, and if we can just kind of show down this line a little bit, you'll see some of the civilians up top on this step. And then a little bit further down, you can see some of the first responders, and we've seen them from every agency in the region: Spokane County Sheriff's Office, Spokane Police Department, Kootenai County Sheriff's Office, Kootenai County Fire and Rescue. Every entity that surround us in this area has seemingly come together here. We've also seen some helicopters in the sky, several motorcycles, and again, this is on the backside of the Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office, since Sunday, when the two fallen heroes first arrived here. There have been first responders stationed in front of this building since their arrival, and they've taken turns and they waited there. They had a little bit of a tent set up to make sure that they would be able to stay with their brothers until they're able to take them all the way back to Kootenai County again later this morning. So that's the scene here at the start of this line of people, heartbroken, but coming together to honor the heroes who, again, like Ainsley said, made the ultimate sacrifice for this community.
All right, Noah, thank you so much. You're standing by live for us as we are watching the gates behind Noah start to close here. That probably signals the start of this procession. We are taking you through our cameras right now that are up. We will be watching the entire procession. Look at that. If that does not hit you right there with some emotion, that is Freya and I-90 as firefighters and law enforcement from around our community are coming together, standing on top of their fire trucks to pay respects to the two fallen. We will sit on this and wait for it to begin. Thank you for joining us here on NonStop Local KHQ. We are joining you live right now as we are waiting for the start of the procession of two fallen firefighters. We are paying tribute right now to the lives of Battalion Chief Frank Harwood, a 42-year-old from Kootenai County Fire and Rescue who leaves behind two children and a wife, and Battalion Chief John Morrison of Coeur Fire, a 52-year-old. You're looking at their faces as our community prepares to pay tribute to them with the procession from the Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office back home to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Our team is in position to bring you all shots of this. We will bring you extended coverage of the procession as it begins. We are waiting right now for that starting point here in Spokane. It will advance down I-90 back into Coeur d'Alene. All right, we are sitting on our live cameras right now as we are waiting for the start of the procession for two fallen firefighters who died in a shooting responding to a fire that officials now say were intentionally set to lure them to the scene. NonStop Local's Ainsley Anderson is standing by live for us in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho right now. Ainsley, you were at the hospital the eve that all of this unfolded. You saw that procession take those fallen firefighters to Spokane. As you watch people join the area there to pay their respects, what are you seeing and what are you feeling right now?
Well, Bradley, like I said, it is a very somber feeling event down here in Coeur d'Alene. We are outside the English Funeral Chapel, which is going to be the ending point of today's procession. And in talking with people, there's a shared emotion of just pure sadness and just the want to honor these men that gave their lives for their community. And they said that the community says this is the least they can do, and they say that it truly is a sight to see with everyone out here in the community just wrapping their arms around one another and just seeing all of the different law enforcement officers, all of the different fire stations and districts coming together to really just show their support. And like I said, we do have people lining the streets, and it's getting busier out here by the minute. There are people coming out to show their respects. We have flags, we have signs, we have just a whole community of people out here showing up to honor these men, Bradley.
Ainsley, thank you so much for standing out there for us and continuing our coverage as we take you right now to the I-90 and Freya overpass. If that image right there does not put it in perspective for you today, I mean, just wow. paying respect right now to two fallen firefighters from our neighborhood. Frank Harwood, a 42-year-old from Kootenai County Fire and Rescue, and John Morrison of Coeur d'Alene Fire. We are waiting for the procession to begin, as it was slated to start at 10. We are waiting right now for it to begin, but we will show you the two faces of the fallen firefighters as our community comes together right now to pay their respects and thank them for their service to North Idaho. All right, I want to bring NonStop local Noah Bolter in. He is standing by outside the Spokane County Medical Examiner's office. Noah, you were there with people who are holding flags. That is something that we are seeing across our region right now, from Spokane to Coeur d'Alene, people standing out there paying their respects. You've had a chance to speak to people standing there next to you. What are they saying?
Bradley, some of the people who I've spoken to have shared stories that they've had throughout their life of when their houses caught on fire, when firefighters went to rescue them, and how much of their experiences with firefighters truly speak to how these people are heroes. These people are thankful for all the firefighters, all the first responders in this community, and they're making it clear it's not just about fire, it's about the police, it's about the sheriff's office, it's about ambulance and medical workers. And what you can't see from this angle, but I'd like to describe to you, is just on that side of the building, there is a line that I cannot see the end of, even when I'm over there, of first responders lining up, waiting for this to start. And a few minutes ago, what we saw was this line of first responders right down here. You can see the backs of them standing shoulder to shoulder. Well, there were at least double as many as there are right now, but they all went back towards their cars, almost as if they're getting ready for this procession to start. And then over in this direction, this appears to be the front of it. You'll see two seemingly unmarked police cars in the front, the all black, and then behind them you can see at least 10, 12 police, motorcycles, sheriff's deputy motorcycles, and even more police off to the side blocking those streets, and even more civilians, community members out here. And we've seen community members getting emotional. We've seen lots of hugs, lots of cries. We mentioned the tissues earlier. There's somebody playing bagpipes here as well. The air is heavy out here, Bradley, just like it is back there, just like it is across our region, as everybody gets together to honor these fallen heroes.
Noah, you couldn't have said it better. The air is heavy. I want to thank you for your live report, Noah, and welcome our audience across the region. Thank you for being with us here on NonStop Local. We are following the procession that is about to begin. We have live cameras up across the region to pay tribute and respect to the two fallen firefighters. We've got one right here at the starting point. This is the Spokane County Medical Examiner's office. But the one that I want to take you to is another one of our overpass cameras, which is showing the outpour of support that we are seeing. Look at that right there for our fallen. American flags draping the top of the overpasses as dozens and dozens of people have come out to show support for the two fallen. Battalion Chief Frank Harwood of Kootenai County Fire and Rescue, who leaves behind two children and a wife, and Battalion Chief John Morrison of Coeur d'Alene Fire, a 52-year-old, who worked his way up through the ranks to become a battalion chief. They were responding to a fire that police say was intentionally set to lure them there, and they paid the ultimate sacrifice for our community. Again, we have cameras across the region in position as this procession will leave from downtown Spokane and make its way to Coeur d'Alene to return the two fallen home for the final time. We want to thank everyone who is joining us right here on NonStop Local as we take you into the sights and sounds of the procession that is currently about to be underway. You were just looking at two people who are sitting there with American flags, waiting to pay their respects to the two fallen firefighters who gave their life in service to our community in North Idaho over the weekend at a wildfire that police believe was intentionally set. You're looking at the gate of the Spokane County Medical Examiner's office where the bodies of the two fallen firefighters, whose faces you're looking at right now, will leave. They will return home via I-90, going under overpass after overpass that is currently draped with American flags and supporters and members of the public who are coming out to pay their respects and thanks to these two men who gave it all to our community. Battalion Chief Frank Harwood and Battalion Chief John Morrison, both working for two different entities in North Idaho, the Kootenai County Fire and Rescue Team and Coeur d'Alene Fire, who responded to that fire on Sunday. We also would like to pay tribute to Coeur d'Alene Fire Engineer David Tysdall, who was shot multiple times and is currently battling for his life in a hospital bed. We do not have an update on his condition, but we want to pay tribute and give thanks to him and his family for their service to our community as we continue to wait for this procession that was slated to begin at 10 o'clock. We know there's a lot of moving pieces to this. A lot of law enforcement from across our region have showed up to be a part of this procession. The mutual aid that responded to this on Sunday evening was spectacular. That's what Sheriff Norris said. He said the resources were totaling to the number of 300 officers who responded from Washington State, the state of Idaho, and even Montana. You're taking a look now at the procession's final stop, which will be the chapel in which the bodies are left at to line state. As you see, members of the public showing up with American flags to pay their tribute and respect to the two firefighters that gave it all to the community of North Idaho and Coeur d'Alene. Again, on Sunday, some 300 personnel responded to a wildfire that was intentionally set. Those 300 people came from the state of Idaho, Washington, and Montana. There were even federal resources that were dispensed as well. As the situation grew and became more active, more and more resources showed up to help respond. Unfortunately, we lost two members of our community who arrived to put that wildfire out. It was Battalion Chief Frank Harwood and Battalion Chief John Morrison, who today we will pay respects to in a procession that will begin here shortly. You're looking at our camera here in Coeur d'Alene. If we have the opportunity, we'd like to take you to one of our cameras overlooking freeway overpasses. It really puts in perspective for you today the amount of support and response we're seeing from the community. As you hear the honks right there, people coming to pay tribute and respect to the two fallen. The streets are lined from downtown Spokane all the way to Coeur d'Alene to pay tribute to these two fallen heroes. You're seeing the American flags over the overpasses as we wait for this procession to begin. Now, the procession has not yet begun, but we'll take you back to the starting point of this. You're taking a look at the Spokane County Medical Examiner's office where their bodies were taken to after the unthinkable happened in Coeur d'Alene. They will make the commute home for one final time from Spokane to North Idaho. We've been showing you the sights and sounds of the region as we wait for this to begin. One of the most intense photos that we've seen today comes from I-90 and Freya, the overpass. And if we have the opportunity to bring you back to that camera, that really puts it in perspective for you. It's something that really tells you how monumental today is. You're seeing dozens of people standing there with flags, and you're seeing firefighters standing on top of their trucks paying tribute, getting ready for this procession to begin. That procession will make its way on I-90 under this overpass right here. If that doesn't put it in perspective for you today, as that flag flies over I-90 with firefighters standing on top of their trucks, the gravity and the magnitude of today, 2 people giving their lives for our community. That's Battalion Chief Frank Harwood, 42 years old, from Kootenai County Fire and Rescue, who leaves behind 2 children and a wife, and Battalion Chief John Morrison of Coeur Fire, who's 52. This is one of the points of today's procession along I-90. The starting point will be the Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office, as their bodies will exit and make their way down I-90 back home to North Idaho. When the procession begins, we will take you live through it, and we will allow the sound of the procession to tell the story. This is the route right here of the procession. It will start in downtown Spokane, follow I-90, and arrive back in North Idaho, where services are to follow. Those dates have not yet been announced, but we today are here to pay respects to the 2 fallen. Again, this is the starting point right here, and the ending point of this procession will be in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. We do have a live camera up in Coeur d'Alene where we are watching people arrive to pay their respects right now. The crowd is slowly growing over the last 30 minutes. You're taking a look at members of the force, nurses, and people like you and me who are just showing up to pay respects to the fallen. The procession was scheduled to start at about 10, but we're waiting for more law enforcement from across the region to show up to be part of the procession. You're hearing the horns honking as they fly those flags over the overpass in tribute to the 2 fallen firefighters. Right there, that puts it in perspective. Freya and I-90. There's something about seeing those firefighters standing on top of their fire truck and knowing the ultimate sacrifice was given. The emotion of that, massive. And if you're just joining us here on NonStop Local KHQ, thank you so much for being with us here on television and, of course, on our stream as we take you through the route of the procession that has not yet begun. It was slated to begin at 10. We are watching for movement here from the Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office, where the bodies of the 2 fallen firefighters were taken after the unthinkable happened in North Idaho. Their bodies will be returned home to North Idaho later today. You're looking at their faces. This is Battalion Chief Frank Harwood and Battalion Chief John Morrison, who gave the ultimate sacrifice in attempting to battle a wildfire that was intentionally set to lure firefighters there. During a press conference with the sheriff on Sunday evening, we learned a little bit of information about what unfolded and what those firefighters were doing. They were doing the reconnaissance in the prep work to begin the battling of that blaze when they were shot and killed. by an individual who lit a fire to bring them there. You're looking at Coeur d'Alene, Idaho now, the home of the two fallen, as crowds are arriving at the final destination for their arrival with American flags. And we're seeing across our region, Argonne and I-90 here, you're seeing the outpour of support from our community in paying respects for the two heroes who lost their life. They showed up to work. They put their gear on, their helmet on, and jumped into action to put out a wildfire that was threatening homes, a mountain, a recreational area, and they were met with gunfire. A father left behind two children, going to work to do what he did every single day, and that was protect our community. Again, this was supposed to begin at 10. We're allowing for some time here as you are watching along with us. We watched those gates close about 10 minutes ago in preparation for the final journey home from the Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I had the opportunity yesterday to speak with Senator Risk from the state of Idaho, who paid his tributes and respects to the two fallen. He told me, quote, "Idaho is behind the families of these two fallen heroes. Should also add that Washington as well, as you are looking at overpasses right now along I-90 in the state of Washington that are draped with supporters and members of the public who are coming out to pay tribute to these two fallen heroes who put their gear on, put their helmets on, put their boots on, got in their fire trucks, and went to keep us safe, and were met with gunfire." One thing Sheriff Norris said was that this was an ambush and that they did not stand a chance. A heartbreaking statement from the sheriff, but a total outpouring of support from our community, as we are seeing a little bit of movement now from motorcycle officers at the starting point of this procession. When this begins, we will take you live through it. There'll be very minimal communication from me. We want the sounds of the procession to do the talking here. As it looked like things are starting to get more underway, let's just remind you and show you the faces of the two fallen firefighters, why we are here today. Battalion Chief Frank Harwood, a 42-year-old who served for Kootenai County Fire and Rescue. He leaves behind two children and his wife. And Battalion Chief John Morrison of Coeur d'Alene Fire. He worked his way up through the ranks, starting as a paramedic to become a battalion chief. The both of them worked to serve a community that they loved. We also would like to pay tribute and our respects and prayers to firefighter David Tysdall, who was shot and is currently fighting for his life in a hospital bed. A tragic situation that unfolded on Sunday. And today our community comes together to pay respects to the two fallen. If you were just joining us, the procession of two fallen heroes has just begun. We're taking you right now through some of our cameras that are up, showing you the procession route, giving you the scope of today and the magnitude of today as we pay our respects to Battalion Chief Frank Harwood of the Kootenai County Fire and Rescue Team, and Battalion Chief John Morrison of Coeur Fire. The route will leave from here in downtown Spokane at the Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office and make its way along I-90 into North Idaho and to end here in Coeur d'Alene, where a crowd has started to populate to pay their respects. Along I-90, through Post Falls, through Hayden, through downtown Spokane, we are seeing crowds of people pop up with flags to pay their respects to the men who gave it all for our community when a fire was intentionally set to lure them to battle it. And that's what they did. They showed up to do their job for our community and were shot and killed. If you were just joining us here on NonStop Local, we are taking you into the procession that has just gotten underway from here in downtown Spokane to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, for two fallen heroes. Coeur d'Alene Police and Coeur d'Alene Fire, their trucks, are leading this procession, taking home the bodies of two heroes, Battalion Chief Frank Harwood and Battalion Chief John Morrison, both serving different entities but having the same mission to keep our community safe. They died in the line of duty on Sunday. You're looking at their faces right here, Battalion Chief Frank Harwood and Battalion Chief John Morrison. When police say a gunman opened fire on them, that was intentionally set to lure them there. They gave the ultimate sacrifice to our community, and today people of Eastern Washington and North Idaho are coming together to pay respect to them. The route starts in downtown and follows I-90 back to Coeur d'Alene, back to North Idaho, a place they knew and loved and were honored to serve, and did so selflessly. When they return home, they will be arriving to a crowd of people in Coeur d'Alene who have already started to gather. We will take you through the route and let the sounds of this procession do the talking. If you're just joining us here, you are watching the procession live of two fallen heroes being returned home to North Idaho from the Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office. The procession is just now leaving downtown Spokane as we pay tribute to Battalion Chief Frank Harwood and Battalion Chief John Morrison from North Idaho, who gave their lives in the line of duty on Sunday. The procession has now made its way to the I-90 Hamilton overpass, where you're seeing members of our community come out to pay their final respects to two fallen heroes who gave their lives in service to the state of Idaho and to our regional community. We're looking now at I-90 in Freya as the procession has made its way here. As you are looking at firefighters standing on top of their trucks, saluting two fallen heroes. I-90 in Francher, where the procession has made its way to, as we continue to pay our respect to the two fallen heroes from North Idaho who responded to a fire on Sunday, Battalion Chief Frank Harwood and Battalion Chief John Morrison, who are making their way home one final time to North Idaho. If you're just joining us, we are watching the procession on I-90 that is returning home two fallen heroes to North Idaho. We are currently watching the I-90 We're watching the I-90 and Parker camera right here that is showing you the procession that is making its way back to North Idaho. As we're watching people pull over and fill the overpasses with American flags to pay their respects to the two fallen heroes. You're taking a live look right now at I-90 in Pines, where the procession for two fallen heroes has currently made its way. These two heroes were firefighters that responded to a fire that was intentionally lit to lure them to the scene. They were doing reconnaissance on the fire before starting the treatment of it when they were shot and killed in the line of duty. Their bodies are being transported right now by way of this procession back to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, an area they knew, loved, and were proud to serve. Their bodies left the Spokane County Medical Examiner's office, and now they make their way home for the last time to North Idaho.
Jeremy!
We're taking you now live to our camera at the state line as we are waiting for the procession to make it there. Multiple flags are up, draping the overpasses with people who are showing up to support, respect, and pay condolences to two fallen heroes, Battalion Chief Frank Harwood, 42 years old, of Kootenai County Fire and Rescue, who leaves behind two kids and his wife, and Battalion Chief John Morrison of Coeur d'Alene Fire, a 52-year-old, who worked his way up the ranks to Battalion Chief. Here's our camera from I-90 in Sullivan, as you are seeing our community show up in full support for our North Idaho community. From downtown Spokane to Coeur d'Alene, people are coming out today to pay their respects to two heroes who put on their boots and their helmets and went to work to keep our community safe, and were faced with gunfire when they arrived. Two heroes passed away in the line of duty, and today our community comes together to pay respects.
Yeah, not sure. Figure that one out.
We're now looking at I-90 in Evergreen as the procession has made its way to the Spokane Valley area. We apologize there as our cameras are struggling. We'll take you live to Coeur d'Alene, where the crowd has come together to pay their respects. This is the final destination of that procession that is currently making its way out of Washington back to the state of Idaho. We're showing you the faces right now of the two heroes that we are here to pay respect to. Battalion Chief Frank Harwood and Battalion Chief John Morrison, who showed up to work, put their boots on and their fire helmets on, and got into a fire truck like they have done so many times before to keep our community safe, and were killed in the line of duty. Today our community comes together to pay tribute to these heroes and thank not only them, but their family for everything that they have done for our greater community. You're looking at I-90 right now as the procession, it's making its way back to North Idaho. It started in downtown Spokane, and you were watching people pull over, get out of their cars, and pay tribute to the two heroes who sacrificed their life trying to battle a wildfire that was intentionally set when they were met with gunfire that unfortunately led to this tragic event that you're watching right now, the procession of their bodies back home to North Idaho. You're now looking at I-90 in Appleway as the procession is making its way slowly back to North Idaho. And you're also looking at the faces of the two heroes who gave their life trying to battle a wildfire that was intentionally set that unfortunately led to their death when they were met with gunfire on Sunday. Today our community comes together in the wake of this tragic, horrible, terrible incident to remember two heroes who put their lives on the line to keep our community safe. We're now looking at I-90 and Harvard. Again, as this procession is slowly making its way back to North Idaho, a community that the two heroes, Battalion Chief Frank Harwood of Kootenai County Fire and Rescue and Battalion Chief John Morrison, loved, put their lives on the line for, not just on Sunday, but every day when they went to work. Today they returned home after a senseless act. Take you now live to I-90 and Star as you see the lead vehicles in this procession that have been led by motorcycle police from Coeur d'Alene and from the state of Washington. And you're also looking at fire trucks and ambulances from Coeur d'Alene police and from Coeur d'Alene that will lead this procession back to North Idaho. We should note some 300 personnel responded on Sunday as part of the mutual aid to the incident from all over our region, from Washington, Idaho, and Montana, and from the federal arm as well. And today we see a lot of those entities lead this procession back to North Idaho as we look at members of our community who are coming together to pay their respects to the two heroes who put their life on the line for North Idaho. Right here, this is the ending point. This is Coeur d'Alene. The community has come together. I was speaking with Senator Risch yesterday, who said, Idaho is behind you. Idaho and the region is behind not only these two heroes, but their family as well. You're now looking at I-90 in Idaho as the procession is making its way, again, closer and closer to North Idaho. You are now taking a live look as the bodies of two heroes have officially arrived home. This is our state line camera. Battalion Chief Frank Harwood and Battalion Chief John Morrison have made their way back to North Idaho, a community that they've loved and served. Unfortunately, died in the line of duty. Their bodies were taken to Spokane, to the medical examiner's office. And now they return home to the place that they loved and served selflessly. We welcome them home and thank them for their service. Welcome back to Idaho. The two men you see on your screen right here, Frank Harwood, Battalion Chief, 42 years old, serving from Kootenai County Fire and Rescue, leaves behind two children and a wife, and Battalion Chief John Morrison of Coeur d'Alene Fire, 52 years old, who worked his way through the ranks and selflessly put his life, their lives, on the line to protect our community when a fire was intentionally lit to lure them. They were met with gunfire, and they paid the price of a senseless act. We welcome them home to Idaho and thank them for their service. We're taking you live now to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. You just watched our state live camera as the bodies of two fallen heroes officially made their way home to North Idaho. Battalion Chief Frank Harwood, 42 years old, of Kootenai County Fire and Rescue, and Battalion Chief John Morrison of the Coeur d'Alene Fire Department, 52 years old. The two heroes who gave their life battling a wildfire that was intentionally set while they were doing reconnaissance on the fire. They were met with gunfire and unfortunately passed away. Their bodies were taken to the Spokane County Medical Examiner's office. And a procession is taking place today from downtown Spokane along I-90, which will end in Coeur d'Alene. That procession has officially made its way back to Idaho. We welcome them home for the final time and thank them for their service as our community still works to wrap its head around this terrible tragedy that makes no sense to anyone. It was a normal Sunday when two heroes went to work and were met with an obstacle that never should have been there. They put their boots on, their helmets on, their gear on, and they got in the fire truck like they had done so many times before. And unfortunately, paid the price with their life. Still a lot of questions that need to be answered. The investigation is still very early on. But today, we thank them for their service, and we remember that they are heroes who gave their life in battling a wildfire for our community. Some 300 people, emergency first responders, came when the call went out on Sunday from not just the state of Idaho, but Washington and Montana, responding as part of mutual aid. Federal government also giving assets as well. It was a dark day, that's what the sheriff called it, for the North Idaho community. And today, we come together and we pay our respects as we look at a still shot of one of the Idaho traffic cameras showing our community coming together in the wake of this tragic, unthinkable, senseless act. There is nothing about what happened that makes sense to anyone. The only good that has come from this is that we are reminded that our community comes together to support one another. Again, that procession left Spokane roughly 35-ish minutes ago and has made its way along I-90, only just entering the state of Idaho, a place that these two heroes loved and put their lives on the line for every single day. When they went to work as firefighters, they were serving our greater community. They are heroes who paid with their life the ultimate sacrifice when they were met with gunfire on Sunday, responding like they had done so many times before to a fire. The sheriff in a press conference called this an ambush and said they didn't stand a chance. And today our community comes together not only to mourn this loss, but remember and pay respects to these two heroes. We also want to remind you that there is another firefighter from Coeur d'Alene Fire, David Tysdall, who was shot multiple times, and he is fighting for his life right now in a hospital bed. We are thinking of him and his family today. We do not want to forget about him, and we are hoping for good news in that case. As we are watching right now, the final destination of that procession, this is Coeur d'Alene, the funeral home, the chapel, where these two heroes' bodies will be returned to. Again, they have just made their way back into North Idaho, their home, after departing from the Spokane County Medical Examiner's office. The procession was massive in size and still is, with resources from across our region as part of that procession. We saw Coeur d'Alene Police, we saw Spokane Police, we saw Washington State Patrol, Idaho State Patrol, we saw ambulances from Coeur d'Alene, Kootenai County, and of course Spokane County as well, all leading these two heroes home. You're looking right here at still pictures available to us from our Idaho Department of Transportation cameras that are up along the route. These show right here people lining the overpasses with American flags. This is just outside of Coeur d'Alene proper, if I'm correct, over by Kootenai Health. And this right here is our live shot from the funeral home and chapel, and where the bodies of these heroes will be taken to today. We've seen nurses, we've seen first responders, we've seen just members of the public all come out today with flags to remember the lives of the two heroes that put it all on the line for our community, put their helmets on, their boots on, went to work like they had done so many times before, and were met with gunfire when an individual intentionally lit a fire to lure them to a scene and killed them. The two heroes' faces on your screen right now. We still don't have the words. It is nothing short of a tragedy. It's heartbreaking. It's devastating. But today, our community does what it does best. And it comes together. And it reminds us all why we live here. It supports one another. And today, we support these heroes. We support their departments. We support our firefighters across the region that have this heavy burden of sadness on them. And we thank them. We thank all of our firefighters, but we also thank the two heroes who gave it all for the state of Idaho. Again, you're looking at our live cameras. These are still shots right here, Kootenai Health in the distance, as we are preparing for the procession to enter Coeur d'Alene. The procession has made its way into the state of Idaho from Spokane, where you will remember on Sunday evening the bodies of these two heroes were taken to the Spokane County Medical Examiner's office and now have made their way home for the final time to North Idaho, a community that they put their lives on the line for every day and paid the ultimate sacrifice with. Let's remind you who these two heroes are. We'll put their faces up on the screen for you, and we'll pay tribute to them right now. A moment of silence for the two heroes, Battalion Chief Frank Harwood and Battalion Chief John Morrison. In the wake of something tragic today, we see our community come together. You are looking live at Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, the city in which the two fallen heroes called home. You're looking at their faces right here. These two men gave it all for our community. And today, it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, politically where you stand, who you are in the world, we all come together to pay our respects to these two fallen heroes who gave their life defending our North Idaho community, battling a blaze that was intentionally lit to lure these two heroes to the scene, and they were met with gunfire. There are no words. It's tragic, it's heartbreaking. But in the wake of that terrible incident, the only good that has come from this is that we were reminded of what's important, and that's each other, as our community is coming together to be here for our fire departments across the region, including our friends in Coeur d'Alene, at the Coeur d'Alene Fire Department and the Kootenai County Fire and Rescue Team, who are still comprehending what happened to their colleague, to their friend, to a leader in their department. We're also reminded that Battalion Chief Frank Harwood leaves behind 2 children and his wife. Today we welcome these 2 heroes home to North Idaho for the final time in preparation for funerals and services that have not yet been announced. I'll take you to I-90 and Northwest Boulevard as the procession has inched closer to Coeur d'Alene. Of course, this is the turnoff near the resort. It will continue down as we see people pulling over, getting out of their cars, and paying respect to the 2 fallen heroes whose faces are on your screen. Again, we do want to be reminded of the fact that there is still a firefighter from Coeur d'Alene Fire, David Tysdall, who is fighting for his life right now, and we are all hoping and praying that the story there has a positive headline here soon. But today, we pay our respects to these 2 heroes who put their boots on and their helmets on and their fire gear on and got in a fire truck like they had done so many times before when a call came in for a wildfire that was burning just outside Coeur d'Alene in the Hayden area, and were met with gunfire. Today, these heroes come home as members of our community, nurses, firefighters, police officers, people like you and I, stand with American flags and wait to welcome them back to North Idaho, back to their home community one last time.
Are you with the news crew? What news? Channel 6? You know John Webb?
I want to take you right now to some footage from State Line that was sent to us by one of our producers, Mike, that's showing you the community support and the outpouring of togetherness we all have right now as we work to try to make sense of this tragic, senseless act. This was the State Line perspective as the bodies of the two fallen heroes made their way home for the final time. You're looking at their faces right here. This is Battalion Chief Frank Harwood and Battalion Chief John Morrison, the two heroes who were met with gunfire when they responded to a wildfire that was burning just outside of Coeur near Hayden. Taking you back now live to Coeur d'Alene. This is the final destination of this procession. We are waiting for the two heroes to make their way to this point. No word yet on services or funerals or gatherings that will take place. This is still very raw and fresh. Of course, happening on Sunday. Today is only Tuesday. On Sunday, these two heroes went to work and unfortunately never got the opportunity to return home because of a senseless act that our community is still working to process.
I think we can sit over there because that's a shady spot over there. But you won't see. Oh, it's silver. Here, let's roll it out. Come on. Idea.
Yeah, I know. Oh, for sure. Yeah, somehow.
All right, we want to take you to some photos that have been sent to us from Noah Bolter, who was at the starting point of the procession in downtown Spokane. That's at the medical examiner's office. These were photos roughly about an hour ago that were taken, showing you the start of that procession. Coeur d'Alene Police and Fire were part of the lead element of the procession as they brought home two of their own following a tragic event on Sunday. These photos are taking us inside right now, this procession, as we are waiting for it to arrive at its final destination in Coeur d'Alene. We're hearing some sirens, which might indicate that after about an hour, these heroes are officially home in North Idaho. You've been watching the procession that's left Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office, and has officially made its way back to North Idaho carrying two heroes. Battalion Chief Frank Harwood, who served the Kootenai County Fire and Rescue Team, and Battalion Chief John Morrison of Coeur Fire. Their bodies have officially returned home to North Idaho, an area that they loved and were proud to serve. We want to thank you so much for being here with us for this coverage. We will continue our coverage on our stream. You can download the NonStop Local app for that continued coverage, but we will leave it right here. When more information about services are released, you'll find it first on nonstoplocal.com. Thanks for being with us. I'm Bradley Warren. We appreciate your viewership here on NonStop Local KHQ.